Let's do a couple examples right now. We have 3x minus 1 and 2x plus 4. If we're going to graph these, there are two ways we can graph this. The way that I taught you to graph is to use a table. X and y. Y is equal to 3x minus 1. Let's pick some easy x's like 0, 1, and 2. Let's plug that in. 0 times 3 minus 1 equals negative 1. 3 times 1 minus 1 equals 2. 3 times 2 minus 1 will be 5. Let's go ahead and take those ordered pairs. 0, negative 1, 1, 2, and 2, 5. We've just taken this one and pairing them together to make an ordered pair. 2, 5, 1, 2, 0, negative 1. Let's connect that with a line. And now let's make a table for the other equation. Zero, 1, and 2 are the easiest x's so far. Negative 2 times 0 plus 4 will be 4. Negative 2 times 1 plus 4 is 2. Negative 2 times 2 plus 4 is going to make 0. So our ordered pairs are 0, 4, 1, 2, 2, 0. Connect those ones with a line. And then now let's label our solution. Our solution is 1 for x, 2 for y. And if we look at our table, we can see that when we plugged in 1 for x, we got 2 for y in both of the equations. Well, before we do that second one, let me just remind you, graph using a table, because that's your fallback plan. The second way that you could graph is you could graph by starting with the y-intercept. Okay, so I'm going to do this top equation in green. The y-intercept is 1. That means when we have 0 for x, we have 1 for y. My slope is 3/4. 3/4 means that the rise is 3 for every 4 that I run across. So if I go 4 to the right, I should go up by 3. If I go 4 to the left, I should go down by 3. Connect that, and we have our line. Let's do it a second time. 3 is the y-intercept, and 1/4 is the slope. So that means for every 4 that I go across, I should go up by 1. For every 4 I go to the left, I should go down by 1. Graphing like that only works whenever you have the graph given to you or whenever you're using graph paper. If you're creating your own graph on your own paper, that doesn't work. Okay, so it looks like these lines are going to intersect soon, but they don't show up on the graph. So I don't know what the solution is. I would have to solve it by using the table with numbers that go farther than this graph shows. All right, I want you to try some. I'm going to show you some here. I need you to pause the video while you do them, and then I want you to check it. Go ahead and try this one out. Write this down, pause the video, and then check it. Solve it by graphing. Use a table. All right, let's take a look at this. Since this question had fractions in the problem. It was 5/3 and 1/3. When I made my table, instead of picking 0, 1, and 2, the easiest numbers to pick are numbers that are multiples of that denominator. Since the denominator was 3, I picked 0, 3, and 6 because I knew that whenever I have to multiply by x, whenever I have to multiply this number here, which was x, that was my x, if I am multiplying by a multiple of 3 and I'm dividing by 3, because that's what's in the fraction, it's going to make things multiply out to be nice and easy, like that -5 and that -10. And then I put my dots on the graph. Only 2 of them showed up. I made a table for the 1/3 x minus 3. Plugging in 0 was easy. Then I plugged in that multiple of 3 and made things work out nice to be 1 minus 3 equals -2. And then that made it so that way whenever I graph, I didn't have to deal with fractions or decimals. I just had whole numbers because the numbers that I picked in my table were multiples of the denominator. Let me just write that down for you. Plugging in a multiple of the denominator, which is the bottom part of a fraction, for x may make the multiplication easier. And here we see that the solution was 3, -2. Make sure you are clearly answering and boxing your solution. Okay, that should be all that you need to do the front page of your assignment. Let me scroll down and see if any of these could actually still be useful. Yes, maybe this one down here can be useful. If we have it and they have x and y on the same side, you could graph it like standard form, the way that I've shown you before, the way that's in your notes, or you could change it to be y equals mx plus b form, if you want. So we could subtract 4x from both sides on this first one. That'll make -y equals -4, and then we put the x part first, minus -4, or just -4. Then we need to get rid of this negative sign here. We need to get rid of the negative, and we do that by dividing by -1. -y divided by -1 is going to make a positive. And it's going to be the same thing for all of these. Because they were all negative, when you divide by a negative, it makes them all positive. And that's going to make y equals 4x plus 4 as the first equation. Let's subtract x from the second equation. And that's going to make -y equals -x plus 2. And this one, when I divide by the -1, it's going to change the y to be positive, the x to be positive, and this 2 is now going to be negative. So let me write that. Y equals x plus minus 2. It was a plus 2, but because I'm dividing by a negative, those two signs are different, so it's going to make a -2. Y equals x minus 2. You're going to have some like that in your assignment for today. Make sure you complete each question on the assignment. It's only 6 questions, and a few of them are the easier ones. Do your best and complete it.